Let's move on to the business news now. Stephen Carroll's got a ripple effect for us as well because Apple, they've been unveiling, haven't they, their first new phone design in 3 years this is, which surprises me. I didn't realise it had been that long. Mixed reviews though, Stephen.
Yeah, well, the expectations for the iPhone 12 had been absolutely sky high. We'd seen Apple's shares rally and, in fact, lift the entire technology sector of the Nasdaq in the run-up to this launch. The first redesign since 2017, major redesign. We've had tweaks in the meantime, but this is also the first model of the iPhone that's going to be ready for 5G. Remember, the iPhone is the main driver of Apple's earnings, so getting this right is crucial to the company's finances. CEO Tim Cook unveiling 4 models of the iPhone 12, priced from just under $700 up to just under $1,100. Now, all major smartphone makers are bringing out their new 5G handsets in the hopes that people will start upgrading once the new network is available. But tech experts are warning that many won't see a major change in internet speeds just yet.
Basically, it's like, oh yeah, well, it's going to be faster downloads and lower latency. That's what everybody talks about. And I actually thought and hoped that Apple would say something a little different. They've really just kind of said the same things that everybody else is saying. And the reality is that in most cases, people are not going to see a huge spike when the 5G icon comes on. And in fact, the latency issues actually don't improve until we move to what's called 5G standalone.
So as details of the iPhone 12 had been leaking out in the days running up to the event, we'd seen Apple shares rally, but the details didn't spark much investor interest. Now that's actually pretty standard for an Apple event. The company's shares finishing down to over 2.5% at the end of trading on Wall Street on Tuesday, still above though where they started the week. Shares in the network Verizon, however, jumped when their CEO appeared on stage during the event to talk about its 5G network in the US. That excitement quickly fizzling out there. The company's shares finishing pretty flat for the day.
It's incredible to see what a difference it can make, isn't it? Let's move on to the latest in a long-running trade dispute. This is between the US and the European Union.
So the World Trade Organization has told the EU that it can levy tariffs on up to $4 billion worth of American goods. This over illegal subsidies given to the plane maker Boeing. Last year, the WTO had allowed Washington to hit EU goods with tariffs over subsidies to Boeing's rival Airbus. You can see where this is going. The decision led to calls for negotiations from both sides to resolve this dispute, which dates back to 2004. The EU Commission Vice President Valdis Dombrovskis saying the additional duties are not in the economic interest of either side and that he hoped the US would drop their tariffs, which have already been imposed. He says this would generate positive momentum, both economically and politically. One to watch to see if they can finally manage to bring an end to that dispute.
Another one to watch today, of course, as in every day really, the markets.
A couple of big issues hanging over trading in Asia today. We've got the stalled talks on US stimulus, the concerns over COVID vaccine trials, and of course rising cases of coronavirus. All of that playing into investor sentiment today. So red across most of the main Asian markets, just the Nikkei in Tokyo there seeing some very small gains a short time ago. On the currency markets, euro's trading for $1.17.5 and just under 91 pence sterling.
Going to talk about Ireland on the programme now. The Irish government has unveiled its biggest, not its biggest, its budget even for next year, facing the twin crises. Guess what they are? Yeah, coronavirus, of course, Brexit as well.
It's been called a monster spending spree, so there is a biggest involved in this too. There's massive investment in public transport plus extra support for the tourism and hospitality industries, which, like elsewhere, have been hard hit by the coronavirus crisis. Now, as the EU country which stands to be most affected by Brexit, Ireland's budget is also taking into account the risk there won't be a trade deal with the UK by the end of the year. The money will come from extra borrowing and increases in carbon taxes, as Ellen Gainsford now reports.
It's an unprecedented budget in size and scale for unprecedented times. To tackle the COVID crisis, Ireland's new government is reaching deep into its pockets.
We will prevail. We will come through this. And from the ashes of the pandemic, together, we will build a stronger and more resilient Ireland.
The package plans for an uncertain future. With the Brexit deadline looming, it assumes there won't be an EU-UK trade deal. And the Irish finance minister isn't banking on a broadly available COVID vaccine next year. The €17.75 billion budget includes a €3.4 billion COVID-19 recovery fund, focusing on infrastructure development, retraining, and supporting investment and jobs, while £4 billion will be allocated to the country's health service, going towards extra beds, PPE, and testing.
A deficit of €21.5 billion, or 6.2%, is currently projected for 2020. While this is a huge figure by Irish standards, it is a similar level of deficit to what peer countries are borrowing.
To help raise funds for these measures, petrol and diesel duties are to increase, and taxes on cigarettes and carbon will also go up. Ireland is facing a loss of 320,000 jobs this year, with unemployment set to rise to 10.25%.
And finally from Stephen, Ikea, they're going to begin buying back second-hand furniture, even if the little bits are missing or broken? Or...
Well, this is part of it. So it's an initiative from the world's largest furniture chain to try and reduce the waste in furniture. The Buyback Friday scheme will run in 27 countries from November 24th to December 3rd. People selling will get up to 50% of the original price of the furniture in IKEA vouchers. The group says that anything that can't be resold will be recycled or donated to community projects. IKEA's already announced plans for its first second-hand store in Stockholm. It's true that it's actually very difficult if you have IKEA furniture. It's very difficult to donate it. Certainly in Paris, most charities won't accept them because when you move them, you tend to get the dents out of the furniture as well.
Exactly. And mine have all got hammer marks in them as well, which is
from your excellent furniture building skills.
Problem. Yeah, I have put together quite a lot of IKEA furniture, it has to be said. In fact, all the relatives call me every time they need someone to put something together. Anyway, thank you very much, Stephen. Stephen Carroll with Business on Fridays 24.